It is time. Alright. So, from last stream, we figured out it might not be Diana, and it might be someone else, and now I have my sights set on Kai, since he was all nervous and dragged us to the tournament and stuff like that, which he could use for his alibi, because he could have committed the murder sooner. And I'm just really hoping it's not Ingrid. Okay. Let's get right into it. Okay.
Tell me what happened.
I'm gonna turn the volume up for this for you guys for a bit. Hopefully that's good.
Where do I even start, though?
How about you begin by explaining why you went to the boiler room?
Why I went there? It was 'cause of a note.
A note?
2 days ago, someone slid one into my room. I never got to see who. I just heard a knock. And when I walked over, there was a note under my door.
I don't remember any of this.
Sorry. It was midday-ish, and you weren't there at the time. And I didn't show you the note later because, well, I'll just read you what it said.
Oh, is this the note from the trailer that we see? Diana, as you are aware, it is our obligation to speak with those whose blackmail we have obtained. After receiving your blackmail and reading the information that's close in it, I believe a meeting between the two of us is warranted. In 2 days' time, please come to the underground boiler room at 8:45 a.m. Make sure to arrive promptly and close the door behind you. To avoid discourse, do not show anyone this letter. Do not approach me about it either, even in private. There is always a chance someone can hear. Wolfgang. Do we know if that's his handwriting? Hold on. Okay, so cursive. Who writes in cursive? Okay. Jean does. Toshiko does. I don't think that's Wolfgang's signature. Look at his signature. Could be Eloise. Not sure if it's Kai. Could be Grace. Could be Winona. Or it could be Eva. God, that's a lot of people.
Wolfie wrote this?
I don't believe he did.
Wolfgang had Diana's blackmail? But didn't he have Jean's?
Hold on a sec. If you take a closer look, the handwriting on that note...
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Doesn't it resemble the handwriting on Wolfgang's note?
You're actually right. Even though Wolfgang's note has been water damaged,
Just someone made
the
them
words I
meet
can
up
make
together.
out are in the same messy scroll as Diana's here.
Then someone else was posing as Wolfgang?
The killer, most likely. They must have thought his word was the only one Diana would follow.
Guess it worked, huh?
I didn't want to show this note earlier. Because I was scared of how people would try to twist it. Like saying I faked the note, or that I decided to kill because of it. I thought it would be better to just stay quiet. I know you guys think I'm stupid for agreeing to meet in a place like the boiler room. And I am. I am stupid. I just didn't want to disappoint Wolfgang. In case he really did write the note. Which was why I left my room around 8:40 a.m. and went downstairs.
Did you catch any strange movement down there?
No, it was just me. I did find the boiler room door hanging open a little bit, but I didn't think much of it. I just went inside and closed the door behind me, since that's what the note asked me to do.
What did you see inside the boiler room?
The boiler room was really dark, so the first thing I noticed was actually the security camera light. My
Okay.
eyes had to take a few seconds to adjust to everything else. But after that, I finally saw him.
Oh, his body. Oh, we're not. Oh, he probably got knocked unconscious.
Wolfgang was lying in the water, making these weird noises. It didn't seem like he'd even noticed me entering the room. Not until... Wolfgang? Hearing his name seemed to snap him out of his trance, because he slowly rose to his feet. Wolfgang, are you okay?
Obviously, he's not. Oh.
It's you.
Huh?
Bro looks like he's in his emo phase.
I can't believe it. I really am finally meeting you.
What do you mean?
Damn! You okay?
Please, forgive me. Please forgive me for what I've become.
Oh.
Wolfgang?
Despite how hard I tried, how much I wanted it to be true, I could never become you.
What?
I will always be a failure.
What's he going on about?
It's okay, Wolfgang. Look! There's stairs over here. Come over here and we can get out. I have no idea if he didn't hear me, or if he was just ignoring me. But, okay. I'll get closer to you then. I went over to the ledge of the platform, the part where the fence had a gap. Just take my hand, okay? And I'll pull you out. He slowly stumbled over, and he held my hand. I didn't really think I could pull him out. I just wanted to be there for him. It was the best I could do, because I didn't want to enter the water. Staying on the platform felt so much safer. And I really, really hate that it did. It's okay, Wolfgang.
Did someone stick him with a needle and that's what the
Get through this together.
little pinprick
all right?
on his neck was?
I was looking at him when I said that. I was looking right at him. But somehow,
Oh shit.
somehow I didn't think to react.
Oh my god.
When he reached inside his blazer,
Oh.
Bring her back.
Okay. Is he hallucinating?
I tried to leave the room, but the door was locked. I didn't know what to do. I started looking around for things to defend myself with. And that's when I saw the gun.
Oh, the
The
taser.
taser gun? Did you use it?
Of course it was
I-
used.
I took the taser, and I aimed it at Wolfgang. And I couldn't do it.
Hmm.
I
Then who
couldn't
used
shoot
it?
him. I just backed away from him. I couldn't understand anything. Why was this happening to me? Why was I being attacked? Why can't I do anything to...
I'm not like you.
Oh, did he do it to himself?
I'll never be like you. I won't give up until the
Or does someone
world
else come in?
knows. I won't give up until everyone knows me as...
Oh, there we go.
All of a sudden, everything turned white. Everything in front of me. Except Wolfgang. In those few seconds, he became pitch black.
Okay, so something went off behind him.
And then, so did everything else.
Nope.
Even though I didn't see Wolfgang fall over, I heard it. His body cracking against the pavement. And his knife falling into the water. I waited for the gasp of pain, for him to groan or mumble or say something. But there was nothing. There was just me and the silence. That's how it happened.
What? What the? What the fuck?
That man attacked you?
Oh my goodness, Diana, I'm at a loss for words.
Okay, but who made
This is getting
the
too much for me, bros. I think I'm gonna faint.
thing?
Holy shit. So Diana really did watch Wolfgang die.
Alright, which one of you is
Why was
lying?
he so violent towards her? It's like he became an entirely different person.
The word you're looking for is crazy.
Oh my god, please don't let it be Mark. Probably because he was hallucinating.
How'd you manage to escape the boiler room after all that?
By picking the door's lock.
For reals?
I wasn't even thinking. I just started feeling my way back to the door in the dark. And then, well, my supply bag. I remembered the spare hairpins I always kept inside. So I felt around the bag and dug one out. To be honest, I have no idea how I managed to unlock the door. The whole thing was repeated trial and error. Just minutes of me telling myself that somehow this next attempt will finally work.
Whoa! actually unlocking the doors. That's like hitting a bullseye blindfolded.
Now we know why it took so long for her to escape.
I realized why it happened. Getting trapped inside, I mean. The door's lock was on the outside. So, someone must have set the lock before I came downstairs. So that when I closed the door, I'd be trapped.
The lock is normally on the inside, too. The killer purposely flipped it, then left the door open so you would be the one to close it. As for why the killer locked the door to begin with...
It was to frame Diana, right?
Right. The killer made Diana trap herself inside the boiler room, so they could kill Wolfgang in front of her, and force her to remain by his body. Had their plan worked, Diana would only be able to escape if someone from outside entered the boiler room. By which point, that someone would be stumbling across what looks like a cut-and-dry murder case.
If the tournament folk found Diana, they would have been playing right into the killer's hands.
Speaking of which... Diana, I'm curious to know, did you unlock the door before or after the tournament attendees arrived downstairs?
That's a good question.
It sort of happened at the same time. Like, when I opened the door, there were already people walking down the stairs. Obviously, I couldn't stay inside the boiler room. If anyone saw me close to Wolfgang's body, it would look really bad. The hallway was a bit easier to make out in the dark. So I walked over to a wall bordering one of the storage closets and hid behind it. And stayed as quiet as possible. I was still bleeding a little from Wolfgang's cut, though. And some of that blood ended up dripping onto the floor around me.
It's the blood on the underground floor! It's all coming together!
This was shortly before us tournament goers split up. And you made a run for it, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Down the hallway, up the stairs, and then as quietly as possible into my room. Since everything was still really dark, I had to patch myself using the Tozu Trinket's projection as my light. I realize this is a lot, and I know it's hard to believe without proof. So, if you guys could just give me a second. I cleared up the blood pretty fast. Luckily for me, the cut wasn't that deep. There's still a chance it may leave a scar, though.
Holy crap!
That's awful!
It's okay. I'll cover it back up again.
Why did Wolfgang attack you for no reason?
I wouldn't say it was for no reason.
You're being kind of insensitive, man.
Huh? I didn't mean it like that. What I'm trying to say is, Wolfgang's actions may look random from an outsider's perspective, but from his perspective, well, judging by his behavior, it seems like he saw something which shook him to his core.
Like, there was something in the room that Diana didn't see?
That's impossible! It was only me and Wolfgang in the boiler room!
I don't believe Jean meant it in a literal sense.
Wolfgang literally saw something?
He thought he saw something, is my point.
You mean he had been hallucinating?
That's what I was saying,
What did Wolfgang hallucinate for him to turn out the way Diana described?
You'd be surprised by the sort of things our minds can invent. I'm lucky to have never experienced anything myself, but I know some who have hallucinated nasty things. Demons and monsters, or the feeling of being tortured. If Wolfgang went through something similar, I can see why he lashed out.
Now, what the heck is going on at sea?
Of course, these hallucinations don't just happen out of the blue. More often than not, they're substance-induced.
Which is what the dot on the snack was. Okay.
Substance-induced?
Just say Wolfgang took a hallucinogenic.
Hallucinogenics?
One which induced a lot of fatigue, too, judging by the way he lumbered about in Diana's account.
It would explain why Wolfgang mostly stayed in one place.
One place, which happened to be in the water.
Seems very deliberate. Aye. I reckon the killer knocked Wolfgang unconscious in order to drag him into the water, but knew he would eventually wake up again. So they drugged him with something which would basically make him despondent. As for where the drug came from...
Oh no! Don't tell me the killer robbed...
I knew exploring it was a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
It? What's this it we're talking about?
The pharmacy.
The pharmacy, obviously. Why the heck did we think leaving that place open was a good idea? Now someone's stolen an item and drugged Wolfgang. Fuck! I knew our promise was too good to be true! I can't trust any of you guys! And don't say Wolfgang drugged himself! Who wants to be tortured by demons?
Well, stranger people do exist.
That's rich coming from you!
Exploring the pharmacy ended up paving the way for murder. Yep. Oh, we're doing a flashback, okay. That's true.
If we know where the perpetrator got their chemicals, I guess our next step is figuring out how they did the drugging.
Agreed. It would help us better understand the timeline of events, and potentially even validate Diana's testimony.
Sounds like you guys can leave this one to me. I'm the kind of person who knows someone back to front the moment I meet them. If you haven't already realized, I've gone and read this killer like an open book.
You're the last person I trust to reach a correct conclusion.
Just you wait! The second you hear what I gotta say, you'll be eating those words!
Sure. Wolfgang's neck.
I bet the killer took a pill and forced Wolfgang to swallow it.
Just jab him at that point.
How would the killer make him swallow a pill? There was no proof they restrained him.
Didn't the killer knock Wolfie out? Maybe that was their way of restraining him.
You can't force an unconscious person to swallow a pill.
What if it was a drug you don't need to eat?
Like an inhalable substance?
Oh yeah, like a powder or something.
The pharmacy does have a large collection of over-the-counter sedatives, but there's too many for us to isolate any specific one.
Okay, I think I know what we gotta do.
I bet the killer took a pill and forced Wolfgang to swallow it.
Just
I missed. Oh.
How would
Okay.
Make him swallow a pill. There was no proof they restrained him. Let the killer not look there. Maybe that was their way of restraining him. You can't force an unconscious person to swallow a pill. What if it was a drug you don't need to eat? Like an inhalable substance? Oh yeah, like a powder or something! The pharmacy does have a large collection of over-the-counter sedatives, but there's too many for us to isolate any specific one.
Okay.
I bet the
Just chip.
There we go.
I got it.
When Wolfgang's wounds were discussed earlier, it was mentioned he had a tiny red dot below the bruise on his neck. During the investigation, I thought this dot was a scab from a mole or pimple. But knowing Wolfgang was drugged, it's clear to see what it really is. A puncture wound.
Considering the timeline of events, an injection would check out. If Wolfgang got drugged a little after 8:15 a.m. and was already feeling the effects when Diana arrived at 8:45 a.m., then we're dealing with something which entered his bloodstream in under 30 minutes. Any normal pill would have taken, probably an hour to dissolve.
Whilst an injection would be much quicker. I see.
That's probably another reason why the killer knocked Wolfgang unconscious. It would have been incredibly difficult to inject him if he was still moving around. Only when they had him right where they wanted, dazed and unable to fight back, did they plunge the syringe into his neck.
With said syringe being filled with a hallucinogenic.
But if this all happened a few minutes after 8:15 a.m., doesn't that make it impossible to pin a suspect?
What? Why is it impossible?
Because everybody's got an alibi for that time. I mean, Damon and I were in my dorm room, and the other party people...
8:15 a.m. Yeah, I was already in the dining hall with Jet, Mark, and Eva.
I left Wolfgang's dorm right after the morning announcement and spent the rest of the hour with Jean.
When Nona and I were in our dorm room together.
And me and Eloise were already sitting down in the courtyard.
Toshiko was giving me the medication she grabbed from the pharmacy.
And, I stayed in my dorm room until 8:40 a.m.
Oh no. If everyone can be accounted for, we really can't discern a suspect.
So, we're back to square one?
Someone here must be lying.
And doesn't plan to stop.
That's what I was
If
thinking.
everyone has an alibi for 8:15 a.m., is it possible the killer never actually attacked Wolfie at that time? But his little note said to come by at 8:15 a.m., didn't it?
Ingrid, do you remember what you said when we couldn't figure out who stole Desmond's taser?
To be honest, I'm drawing a blank.
You suggested we switch subjects and discuss Wolfgang's injuries instead, which we did. As a result, we ended up unraveling more about the case than if we had stuck to the original topic. Right now, we're at a dead end. If we can't get any more leads out of this current discussion, then that's a sign to switch our focus.
Switch our focus to what?
I want to take another look at Diana's testimony.
Mine?
Back when you were describing Wolfgang's death, something stuck out to me. The flash of white Diana described must have been the generator exploding, with the darkness afterwards being the blackout. Think about the order of events there. In just a few seconds, the boiler room's generator explodes, and Wolfgang falls over dead. Doesn't it sound like the two are correlated?
Yeah.
Oi, didn't we go over this already?
We did. The generator has nothing to do with Wolfgang's death. Its wires weren't touching the water.
Indeed. Which is why the murder weapon is the taser gun.
Diana said she never used the taser, though.
Then she's lying!
What?
Ooh, Toshiko.
That's not true! I never fired the gun!
It's all good. I believe you. Sure, nobody can dispute the gun was fired. What can be disputed, though, is when it got fired. I wouldn't be surprised if the killer fired that gun way in advance. Like, sometime before Wolfgang arrived downstairs and left it in the boiler room for us to find later.
What? So the taser gun isn't the murder weapon?
No, I don't
If
think it
Wolfgang
is.
wasn't killed with the taser gun or the generator, what other options are we left with?
The taser gun is the only option which makes sense. The murder weapon can't be anything else.
Oh my god, the exposed
And
wire.
anyway, the only proof Diana never shot the taser is her own word.
That's true.
Ava! What do you mean?
All the evidence supporting your version of events is circumstantial. The note you showed us? That could be a fake alibi you made for yourself.
That could be true.
The fact that it has the same handwriting as Wolfgang's is already suspicious.
Couldn't that just mean the same person tricked them?
That's what I'm thinking.
If you earnestly believe Diana didn't write it, then maybe. But do you see what I'm saying? There's no proof Diana never wrote the notes. There's only her word to go by. Because if she did write them, everything about her entering the boiler room at 8:45 a.m. and being locked inside could be a total lie.
I get what you're saying. But if we run with the idea that Diana was the one waiting for Wolfgang all the way back at 8:15 a.m., then we're stuck with the issue we had last time. Why did Diana wait over an hour to kill him?
That's also circumstantial. None of us know what really went on between those two in an hour. Ruling someone out because they took a long time to murder is stupid.
Without context? Sure, I'd say the same. But since the boiler room is unlocked, anyone can enter. If Diana knocked Wolfgang out, then she took over an hour to kill him with that info in mind.
Okay, but who would enter?
Yeah,
no
who would
one
go
wants
down?
to make a detour down some gross, freaky-looking basement. The boiler room is probably the most covert place a person can be.
That's true, we did meet Tozu in there.
Diana claims she didn't write the notes, and she claims she didn't shoot the gun. But where's the hard proof she didn't do any of these things?
The answer lies in what destroyed the generator.
What?
Didn't we already talk about that?
All you guys did was discuss theories, never anything concrete. Settling for a theory isn't good enough when our lives are on the line. In the same way Ava can't rule out Diana's involvement in the case, we can't rule out the generators.
That's true.
So we have to figure out what destroyed the generator?
Yeah, it probably has to do with the
What should we do?
shrapnel.
Just throw out ideas?
That's probably what they're gonna do.
It's what we've been doing this whole time.
Oakley dokley. All right, everyone. Let's put our thinking hats on. If we work together, we'll unravel this mystery for sure. Ready? On your marks, get set, go!
Non-stop debate. Yep. Okay. What we got? There we go, shrapnel. Oh, odd smell.
Why did the generator blow up?
Could have just been an electrical fault.
So, a coincidence?
Is this the best situation? To be waving stuff off as a coincidence?
Did the killer throw something at the generator that made it explode?
Perhaps it's the fault of the taser gun? The electrical discharge it
probably that.
released might have connected with the generator and created an overabundance of energy, which caused everything in the circuit to pop.
Probably. There's no proof anything besides the taser was involved.
In
Nope,
that case,
not that.
That's not
Okay, I guess it's shrapnel with that statement.
Why did the generator
shoot.
blow up?
Could have just been an electrical fault.
So, a coincidence? Is this the best situation? To be waiting stuff off as a coincidence? Did the killer throw something at the generator? That made it explode? Perhaps it's the fault of a
Taser gun? The electrical discharge it released might have connected with the generator and created an overabundance of energy, which caused everything in the circuit to pop.
Probably. There's no proof the taser was
No, that's wrong!
God, my hope's so low.
Unfortunately, Ava, I have to disagree. You say nothing but the taser could have been involved in the murder. But there's one possibility you didn't consider. The shrapnel in the water.
Do you mean those bits of red metal which were floating around?
Right. The ones that look like the aftermath of an explosion. Due to their proximity to the generator, it's safe to assume the two are connected.
Can't that just be debris left by the generator?
Except this debris is a completely different color. It lacks the rust the generator has accumulated. We're obviously looking at the remnants of something else, which means an object we haven't yet identified was caught in the explosion.
What was near the extension cord, or I think it's the extension cord.
This is it.
Yep.
In the water was also an extension cord, half of which had been burnt away.
Huh? Did the cord get caught in the explosion?
seems that cord has the misfortune of floating around the wrong place.
Oh, maybe it was a
at the wrong
timer.
time.
From what I saw in my investigation, the building's extension cord supply seems to be kept inside Storage Closet D. So in a way, yeah, it was definitely in the wrong place.
Storage Closet D, huh? It was hard to make out much of it in the dark. And after the power came on, Kai came screaming for us to leave our closets. But I do recall seeing some extension cords peeking out from behind a shelf.
Since we already know the killer raided one storage closet, anyone else willing to bet they raided this one too?
The hell did they need an extension cord for?
Probably something involving the generator, given its proximity to the cord.
Same thing with the red bits, even though we don't know what they are.
We haven't talked about the odd smell. Yeah, that's all we haven't talked about.
This is it.
Hold that thought. We may be able to identify the shrapnel using context clues. During the investigation, there was a strange smell permeating the boiler room. It took me a moment to notice, but when I did, well, the best way to describe the scent would be if you mix cereal and alcohol together.
Cereal and alcohol? Talk about specific.
Mm-hmm. 'Tis a sign a chemical reaction was at play.
Wait, you recognize the smell?
Chemical reactions can produce some pretty pungent odors. Usually something to the tune of alcohol mixed with cereal, or fruits, or eggs. I noticed the smell going into the investigation, but it had completely slipped my mind until now.
Could it be a chemical reaction was caused by the taser?
The gun never touched the water. There's no reason for it to be the source of the smell.
What about the generator?
Considering the state of it, that generator would smell more burnt than anything else.
If the chemical reaction can't be explained by what we already know, like the generator or the taser gun, we need to consider the possibility that the explanation is the one piece of evidence still evading us, the shrapnel.
Can someone translate this into less complicated talk?
Okay, but we don't know what the shrapnel is.
It was just a long-winded way of saying he's using process of elimination.
I know it sounds like a stretch, but if you follow this line of reasoning, a lot more questions start getting answered. Think about it. If the smell and shrapnel are linked, then whatever object the shrapnel belongs to must contain chemicals.
So we're looking for a metal object, which is also packed with chemicals?
Surely something like that would be kept inside the pharmacy.
Looking at my notes... When we originally visited the pharmacy, I recorded everything I saw. A bright red metal object would have definitely caught my eye, but I don't see one written here.
I got lots of metallic objects in my dorm room, but nothing chemical. Just big old slabs of metal.
Oh no, Ingrid. Don't tell me. With all sorts of big bending tools and metals. Device. Who? Is it Jet?
It has to be you!
Oh.
Jet, I need to ask you something.
Man, it's not
What's
Jet,
up?
is it?
Can you tell me what's inside your dorm room?
Like, a full-on list?
Whatever works.
Sure thing. I got a pretty gnarly collection of parts and accessories. Blind spot mirrors, lithium batteries, wheels, spare brakes, you name it. Oh, I even have the legendary mantle from the 1984's Grand Prix winning Speedster.
That's what I was hoping to hear.
A lithium
Cool.
battery?
So, why'd you want to know? Unless... Wait, I'm not being suspected, am I? No. Don't try to rope me into this, bro. I've got nothing to do with the murder.
I know you don't. You have an alibi. The only reason I ask is because that mysterious red shrapnel may be the remnants of one of your lithium batteries.
What?
I see.
Music's starting to kick
A
in.
lithium battery might explain the smell in the air.
And lithium? That's an explosive substance. If it made contact with water, gosh, you'd be left with a mess and a half.
Wouldn't someone have heard an explosion, though?
I did.
Really?
During the tournament, right before we lost power.
Oi, that's right. That was a boom.
Wait! I remember hearing it too!
I initially
That sounded
assumed
kinda
the generator
sarcastic.
made the noise somehow. But if Jet's car batteries contain an explosive substance,
Hey, Jet, were your batteries bright red at all?
Maybe?
You don't know for sure?
I never took the batteries out of their packaging. The packaging isn't red, I can tell you that, but the actual batteries? Yeah, I got nothing.
So it can't be proven beyond a reasonable doubt?
Pretty much.
Well, what's the reaction time of a lithium battery?
The reaction time?
When a lithium battery hits the water, how long does it take to combust? I think, once we know that, we can decide whether or not the battery is relevant to the case.
Oh,
A
that's
lithium
smart.
battery would be an almost instantaneous reaction, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. Lithium isn't a metal I've worked with, but it got beat into my head never to mix it with substances it doesn't like. All that electricity, the battery would have let out when it hit the water. It must have went straight into poor Wolfie.
There's warning labels on the battery for a reason.
Okay. If the reaction is instantaneous, then the battery would have entered the water only seconds before the generator exploded. That's really weird.
There we go. My headphone just went haywire for a second there. Alright.
Is it? According to Diana's testimony, when the explosion happened, she was still holding the taser gun. In which case, who threw the battery into the water?
Ooh, it's someone from the game tournament.
Huh. Good point. We can rule out Wolfgang, since the Blackens can only be a student who kills another student. And Diana.
It was only Diana and Wolfgang in the boiler room, so unless Diana herself was the one to throw the battery, then the battery can't play a part in the murder.
Someone threw it through the grate in the
I didn't throw the battery.
dining room.
I promise.
Alright. I think I know what I'm looking for here.
If the battery is related to the case, only Diana could have thrown it in the water.
But my arm had been cut. Lifting a battery would hurt too much.
Okay,
Neo batteries are pretty lightweight, though.
Might be the... It could be that. Oh shoot. What was the other one?
The battery clearly couldn't have fallen from somewhere, so it must have been submerged another way. Perhaps something akin to what Eva described?
If that battery is the murder weapon, why is there a taser gun?
Maybe it's a red herring.
Judging by the shrapnel, the battery would have landed in the water, a few inches from the generator.
Not the hardest shot to make.
If the battery is related to the case, only Diana could have thrown it in the water.
But my arm had been cut. Lifting a battery would hurt too much.
Neo batteries are pretty lightweight, though.
Shoot, which truth bullet is
fallen
it?
from somewhere, so it must have been submerged another
Okay,
way.
it's that.
Perhaps something akin to what Eva described?
Shoot.
If that battery
So
is the
taser
murder
gun.
weapon, why is there a taser gun?
Maybe it's a red herring.
Judging by the shrapnel, the battery would have landed in the water, a few inches from the generator.
Not the hardest shot to make.
Okay, hold on. Okay, let's see.
If the battery is related to the case, only Diana could have thrown it in the water.
But my arm had been cut. Lifting a battery would hurt too much.
Neo batteries are pretty lightweight, though.
The battery clearly couldn't have fallen from somewhere, so it must have been submerged another way. Perhaps something akin to what Eva described?
Okay, it's either generator or shrapnel of her statement.
Why is there a taser gun?
We've already went over the shrapnel, so maybe we talk about the
It's a
generator
red herring.
again.
Judging by the shrapnel, the battery would have landed in the water, a few inches from the generator.
Not the hardest shot to make.
Okay. How far in was it?
Batteries are
The battery clearly couldn't have fallen.
Here we go. Oh, I got it right. Alright.
No. The battery might actually have fallen from the generator.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
What makes you say that?
The shrapnel's position in front of the generator suggests there's a correlation between the two. However, it's unlikely Diana threw the battery at the generator. Not only is the boiler room difficult to see in, the generator is positioned far enough from the concrete platform that Diana, with her wounded arm, would need to stand on the platform's edge to make the shot. Which would obviously put her in danger of being attacked by Wolfgang again.
Yeah. Wolfgang was really close. He could reach over to me if he wanted.
If the battery hadn't been thrown, the only other possibility is that it fell down into the water. And considering the layout of the boiler room, what else could the battery fall off of? Except the generator.
Are you saying the battery was sitting on top of the generator?
Could have been. Ah, thrown in from the grate. Suspended?
I got it.
Okay.
The battery may have been suspended over the generator.
Suspended over?
Yeah, with the extension cord.
This is it.
The killer could have tied the extension cord around the battery and slung the battery over the generator. If the cord and battery were tied together at the time of the generator's explosion, it would explain why half of the cord had been burned away.
The more you explain it, the more unbelievable it sounds.
What if that's the point? Maybe the killer chose a crazy method because no one would believe it.
I don't see how weaving a cord into the mix is any more beneficial than leaving it out. If anything, the cord adds extra weight.
Which would be especially inconvenient for Diana, because her arm was bleeding.
Right. It wouldn't benefit Diana to hold the cord. So, what if she didn't?
Okay, now
Something else may
Toshiko's
have been
acting
supporting the cord instead.
suspicious. Maybe an object?
I got it.
Throughout this trial, we've assumed the killer held the battery in some form or another. If the battery was on its own, the killer tossed it in. If the battery was wrapped with a cord, the killer held the other end of the cord. But in the same way something else can hold the battery, can't something else also hold the cord?
Ugh, my head's starting to spin.
This is
Are
one
you talking
complicated
about
murder.
something which could keep the cord in place?
And what would that be? That's a question.
This is it.
The great.
The killer tied the cord to the vent.
What vent?
The one above the generator. It connects the boiler room and the dining hall.
So it was someone in the dining hall that did
There's a
it.
vent above the generator?
You should remember some light shining into the boiler room. That's where the vent is. The vent itself is set a bit far back into the wall. So you probably assumed the spot was a small window or something.
If the boiler room and the dining hall are separated by one vent, does this make the wallpaper thin, or...?
There's two vents. The boiler room vent and the dining hall vent. Both are connected via a small ventilation shaft. I was able to get a close look at the boiler room vent after Ava and I woke up, which is why I know these details.
How close is close for someone under 6 foot?
Ava helped me reach the vent,
By?
letting me sit on her shoulders.
Quite the visual.
Anyway, if the killer tied one end of the cord to the vent and the other end around the battery, they could suspend the battery over the generator.
Something like that would result in an explosion.
What do you mean?
You say the killer tied one end of the cord to the vent and the other end to the battery. However, indoor extension cords are much longer than regular cords. They can be upwards of 9 or more meters in length, as opposed to the average cord's 2 meters. 9 meters is significantly longer than the distance between the vent and the boiler room floor. If the killer wanted to tie the battery to the cord's other end, they would be tying it to something which is already submerged in water.
I see. It is an impossible setup.
Oh, by cutting it.
Cut the cord using what?
Oh.
And where?
Could have been the story.
Well,
not even.
I didn't see pliers either.
You believe the victim set up the murder trap?
So this
Oh,
whole
did I get it
thing
right?
was a suicide mission?
Oh, no. Okay. Guess it was
I
wrapped
got
around
it.
the battery. Okay, shoot, I'm on one life.
The extension cord is pretty thin and flimsy. If the killer wanted the battery to be secure, they need to wrap a lot of cord around it. Probably to the point there wouldn't be much spare cord remaining. Which is a good thing, because this spare cord is what the battery will be suspended by. So long as the spare cord isn't too long, the battery will sit safely above the water.
So much effort.
Agreed. How do you even submerge the battery into the water under those circumstances?
Shoot, which is it? Is it the vent again? Did they just, like, untie it?
This is it.
Oh, I guess so.
Like I mentioned earlier, I gave the vent a close look after originally waking up in the boiler room. Part of my inspection included opening the vent to get a better look at the other side.
The vent can be opened?
Not all the way, but far enough for the vent to cause a domino effect if then closed. In our case, a domino effect involving the extension cord tied to it. If we assume the vent must be open for the battery to remain a safe distance above the water, we end up with a pulley system. To prevent the battery from entering the water, the vent is literally pulling the entire cord backwards. Ergo, it's not just the killer's own measurements keeping the battery in place, but the vent itself. Having opened one of these vents before, I can tell you how tough they are to move. A lightweight battery definitely isn't heavy enough to pull one shut. It takes an actual person to close one, which is great for the killer, because it means they get to maintain full control over when the battery enters the water. If they close the vent, the cord should slide forward and submerge the battery into the water. When that happens, the boiler room water becomes electrified by the battery's components, which in turn causes electricity to pass directly into the body of Wolfgang, who is standing in the water.
Exactly which vent is the cord being tied to?
The boiler room vent.
Funny. Earlier, you said there's a small vent shaft connecting the boiler room vent to the dining hall vent. Assuming the killer is operating this trap from outside the boiler room, since we know there were only ever 2 people in that room, how would they even be able to reach the boiler room vent?
So is someone on the other side
like
of the
you
vent.
said, there's a separate vent in front of it.
This could only mean one thing. The killer never tied the cord to the boiler room vent. They tied the cord to the dining hall vent.
That just creates the same problem as before, but reversed. Instead of the dining hall vent making it hard to close the boiler room vent, it's the boiler room vent making it hard to reach the dining hall vent.
While the vents may seem like an obstruction, especially since they can't be opened all the way, there's a very easy workaround. All the killer needs to do is fit the extension cord between the grates of the boiler room vent.
Oh yeah, the grates. You mentioned something about them earlier. Right. When you described opening the boiler room vent. If you can fit your fingers between the grates, there's no damn way you can't fit a cord.
Exactly. After which, you could slide the cord through the ventilation shaft and out the opposite end for the killer to then go and tie to the...
Actually...
Did he actually say, actually?
Hello?
What is it now?
There's something I still don't understand about your theory. It's to do with the logistics of the cord.
The logistics?
Its size.
Oh my god.
I understand the boiler room vent can be opened. Maybe not all the way, but enough to fit an extension cord through. What's bothering me, however, is that the boiler room vent was closed during the investigation, which means it must have been closed during the murder. I understand the boiler room vent can be opened, maybe not all the way, but enough to fit an extension cord through. What's bothering me, however, is that the boiler room vent was closed during the investigation, which means it must have been closed during the murder. I understand the boiler room vent can be opened, maybe not all the way, but enough to fit an extension cord through. What's bothering me, however, is that the boiler room vent was closed during the investigation, which means it must have been closed during the murder.
Oh, there we go.
There goes my headphones again.
I don't see a problem here. The killer doesn't even need to open that vent. Because
he can simply slide the cord between the grates.
Indoor extension cords may be thin, but the plugs on either side of them aren't. How can the killer fit both those plugs between the gaps in the vent grate? Either the boiler room vent was never involved, or it was open at some point, and someone else closed it. That is my issue.
Okay, do we advance from here? No? Okay.
Indoor extension cords may be thin, but the plugs on either side of them aren't.
I'll cut through those words!
if you insert the cord through the boiler room vent first, it's possible to fit the cord through. You just need to start with the internal plug. The cords in Storage Closet D have a slim internal end. This can easily be slid through the gaps in the vent. Once the killer ties the cord around the dining hall vent, presumably with a knot, the cord won't be at risk of sliding back out either.
I see. When put like that, whether or not the boiler room vent was closed isn't really relevant.
How'd you figure all this out from some shrapnel and an extension cord? This is crazy.
At the same time, what he's describing sounds plausible.
Since the battery was suspended over the generator, it's no surprise the machine ended up the way it did. Fortunately for Diana, she was safe by virtue of remaining on the platform. I imagine that was also the killer's intention.
The killer kept her on the platform?
They must have known they were injecting Wolfgang with a hallucinogenic. So, it's possible they hoped his behavior would scare Diana off from entering the water. Although, even if Diana did die, the moment people realized only she and Wolfgang entered the boiler room, they'd probably call the whole thing a murder gone wrong.
Well, all of this certainly changes things.
Huh?
If the killer is someone who needed access to the vent and needed to be operating from the dining hall, then everyone who attended the tournament is a suspect.
That's what I was thinking.
No way!
So we can reduce it down to 8 people. Damon, Kai, Grace, Eva, Cassidy, Jed, Mark, and John.
It was probably Cassidy. She set the whole thing up.
Grace.
Hey, I was only trying to improve the mood.
I know it.
It wasn't me. I was playing a game with Damon when the lights went out.
That's true.
I had to play music.
That's true. He was
Me
over at
too.
his music booth.
You never touched my equipment.
Oh,
I
Eva.
meant I was watching Kai and Damon play.
I was spectating as well.
Gotta be one of the spectators.
Me too.
Me 3! And Cass 2, I think? I was too focused on the game to remember who was or wasn't there.
If everyone's telling the truth, then all 8 of y'all were crowded round the same spot?
Near the right wall where the TV was set up. It's also the furthest wall from the vent.
Seems like someone is lying again.
Shoot, I don't remember. I don't remember this. Who didn't I hear before the blackout? Grace? I don't... shoot, it's either, I think, Grace or Cassidy. Shoot. Oh, shoot, where's Eva? She's acting really suspicious. What she said to me, that was very suspicious. Shoot, I think I'll go with her.
It has to be you!
Oh, shoot. Eva.
The killer is Ava.
Huh?
Ava's the only one whose position I can't account for. Mark was mixing a track at the time Kai and I were playing a game, so I know he must have been stationed at his pad.
Thank God it's not him.
Everyone else? I remember hearing their voices over the sound of the game. Everyone except Ava. In fact, last I saw her, she was standing in the corner of the room with the vent.
So Ava flipped the vent?
That's crazy. I didn't even expect it to be her.
And the reason no one heard it is because the music was too loud!
Don't blame me. I was just doing what I was told.
No one's blaming you.
She did help
for
me set
all
up.
Eva.
That's... Oh, man.
Care to contribute anything, Eva?
I didn't flip the vent.
Well, Damon says you...
Damon says a lot of things.
While you aren't technically wrong, I don't think that counts as an argument.
His theory is full of plot holes. He just refuses to point them out.
What plot holes?
The cord.
What?
In retrospect, you were so quick to accuse me that you overlooked a huge problem with the cord. If I'm the killer, how did I dispose of it?
Trick question. You left the cord tied to the vent.
What then? It unraveled by itself and fell into the water?
Yeah, you got me there.
She's during the blackout, but then she couldn't see it. But she was standing near it. So she probably knew the position of it, so...
I got it.
To dispose of the cord, you just untied it during the blackout.
She untied the knot during a blackout?
Being the one who set up the trap, Ava could have easily practiced untying the knot in advance. Or she just made it a really simple knot. Either way, it wouldn't be any more difficult than untying your shoelaces with your eyes closed.
If Ava untied the cord, did it also fall into the water?
Diana's testimony says as much.
It does?
During your confrontation with Wolfgang, you recounted hearing certain sounds.
Okay, kaboom. Alright, the plop. That was probably it. Not the knife.
The first sound was obviously the battery exploding. And the second, when you first recounted the story, you said it was the sound of the knife hitting the water. But why would a thin knife make such a big splash?
Then, do you think...
What really caused that sound was probably the extension cord falling into the water.
When you say it that way, it does seem likelier.
I should have known. The kid who lied about her talents and tried to lie about the Tozy trinkets. I should have known. I should have known only Eva fucking Sadaka would kill Wolfgang!
You're right that Eva's lied to us several times already.
But she's just a mathlete. How did someone like her come up with something this complicated?
Her talent would give her the upper hand in all that measurement nonsense.
That's true.
Even so, the sheer volume of items Eva had to steal. She's been under heavy suspicion these past few days. How did she sneak into Jet and Desmond's rooms without being noticed?
That's a good point.
It's impossible. Wolfgang even got mad at me for being late to the dining hall by a few minutes.
That's it.
I've been watched the entire time I've been here. There's no way Jet wouldn't have noticed me taking his battery.
Right on. No one.
They already did.
And anyway, how could I enter the cord through the boiler room vent when I can't even reach the top of the generator? If anything, you should be suspicious of the taller students.
The boxes.
Ava grabbed one of the boxes on the concrete platform and placed it next to the generator.
No, she's not.
That's setting myself up. Removing a box would reduce the amount of boxes.
Flexing your...
I'm saying Damon would have, but he never noticed anything because there were...
Couldn't you just move the box back in?
Then the underside of the box would be wet, which it wasn't.
This I can confirm. My notes on the box's exteriors mention nothing about watermarks.
Oh. Shoot, do I have to start all over? Oh, no, thank God. Okay. Maybe it's these boxes down here that are in the water.
This is it.
Yeah, okay. Small, tiny detail.
Ava, to reach the top of the generator, you simply stood on one of the boxes in the boiler room. There's already a huge pile of them near the generator itself. You could easily push one up against the machine.
Ah. She would have known about those boxes in advance, too. Since she explored the boiler room with you ahead of time.
Okay, I could have used the boxes to reach the top of the generator. And I could have fit the cord through both vents if I inserted the right plug. I can do both of those things without attracting suspicion. What I can't do without attracting suspicion is opening the vent.
Which vent are we talking about?
Oh my God.
The dining hall one. Based on what Damon's saying, it needs to be opened for the killer's trap to work. But opening it during the tournament is asking to be caught, and opening it before the tournament is useless because Jet, Cassidy, and Mark would see it while setting up.
Oh yeah, you're right. If there was an open vent with a cord tied to it, I would have noticed for sure.
Now that Eva mentions it, I'm pretty sure the vent was closed during setup.
See, there's no way I can execute this trap without being caught. It's a stupid trap anyway. All the cord and vent stuff is too complicated. There's a billion ways it could go wrong. Damon's just making stuff up. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I think I do.
What the? That's bullshit.
Can it, you four-eyed troll! You can't talk your way out of this one!
No, there you go, he finished his
The
word.
person who would be sick-minded enough to kill Wolfgang is you, and only you! Don't you fucking try and tell me otherwise!
You tell her, Grace.
You can't say I'm the murderer just because I sat near a vent.
It seems to be pretty good evidence to me.
Wolfgang exposed you for the snake you are, and you despised him because of it. You have a motive!
Perhaps our understanding of the mechanism is wrong? Maybe it wasn't closing the vent that triggered it, but something else?
Do you have any evidence to prove that?
Even if this trap was used, you can't guarantee it operated the way Damon described.
How so?
Well, the battery could have been tied to the extension cord with a special knot which can untie by itself after a bit of time passes.
There's even less evidence for that!
Evidence? No one here cares about evidence. I just happened to be at the game tournament.
No.
No, that's wrong!
No. It's no coincidence you were at the game tournament. In fact,
You
it's
helped
not
set
even a
up early.
coincidence the tournament took place during the murder.
What do you mean?
It was impossible for me to notice this earlier, but the killer timed the tournament so it would grant them an alibi for the murder.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Are you accusing me of murder again? I thought you said Ava was the culprit.
The detective isn't supposed to switch suspects in the last stretch like this. We're totally throwing the audience for a loop, and not in a good way.
Except neither of you played a role in determining what time the tournament would be held. The only person to determine that was Ava.
Oh yeah, that's right. I honestly forgot about that. Okay, 9 a.m.
Ava knew she would be in the dining hall tomorrow, so when Cassidy announced the tournament, she realized it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create an alibi for herself.
That's insane. How could she have come up with something like that on the spot?
It wasn't just for an alibi either. Since Ava knew about the tournament, she could time the setup of her trap accordingly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what was the question? It's probably these two. I'm just talking to furniture.
I got it.
Okay.
Cassidy, you told me Ava approached you yesterday and asked to help set up the tournament. What exactly did she say?
When did I tell you this again?
Before the tournament?
Oh, now I remember. Yeah, Eva wanted to see what sort of equipment the tournament needed. After I showed her Mark stuff and told her we were redecorating the dining hall, she offered to help.
Back when this conversation happened, you still hadn't decided what time you were going to start redecorating, right?
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. Eva really helped me out, though. She said she would stack the dining hall furniture we weren't going to use later that night. Afterwards, we could focus purely on arranging the technical stuff in the morning.
All right. Then tell me what happened last night.
Jet, Mark, Eva, and I came to the dining hall at around 8:40 p.m. probably. We stacked the table and the dining chairs against the left wall, and the sofas we moved to the middle of the room, maybe a little more to the right. Then we all went back to our dorms. Well, I was kind of hungry, so I stayed back a few minutes before leaving.
Hold the phone! If those sofa chairs were moved to the middle of the room, why did I see one over in the corner this morning?
Ooh, maybe to cover it up.
There.
Eva, what?
She didn't want to take part in the tournament. Just watch it from the side. That's what she told me. I never thought it was weird or anything. Some people just like sticking to the walls of rooms, you know?
We're talking about the sofa in the upper left corner, aye? The one next to the coffee table.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir, Eva.
Yo, when the power went out, I'm pretty sure Damon ran over to that corner to look through. Yeah, a vent!
Did she move the chair there so it would be easier to reach the vent later?
Why would I when Cassidy just
Wait,
said
hold.
the vent was closed during setup?
Why did he say Damon? Did he mean to say Eva? Oh, found a little error. Unless you meant to say that.
Because you were covering for yourself in advance.
Huh?
The vent may not have been open at the time, but I'm willing to bet that's because you were still creating your trap.
In what way?
Let's say Ava took a detour for the boiler room first, and slid the internal plug through both vents. After going upstairs and helping rearrange the dining hall furniture, during which she moves a sofa chair so it obscures the vent, she heads outside and hides until everyone else goes to bed. Then, she walks back in and opens the vent.
So Eva took complete advantage of them?
Not my fault those two are so trusting.
You think a big guy like me was gonna be afraid of some mathlete? No way!
I mean, she did lie about a lot of important things. Her talent being one of them.
She also cried and fled the scene after we found out, no?
I just thought it was cool. She wanted to help me out.
Hey, can we backtrack a little? Like, to before all this Ava talk?
Why? What happened?
It's to do with the chair's position. You guys keep saying it was in front of the vent, but Damon stood in front of the vent during the blackout. If the chair was in the position you all say it was, it should have blocked him from crouching in front of the vent.
Ava probably just moved it during the blackout.
Eh?
Before the blackout, it was positioned with its back to the left wall. However, when I ran over to the vent, the chair was suddenly pushed up against the northern wall, out of the vent's range.
Wait, when did he run to the vent?
Ava must have shifted the chair while everyone was initially panicking.
Was that
from the
during the
blackout.
investigation or something?
I'm guessing she hoped people would misremember its position and think it was always along the northern wall.
Oh man! So I totally fell for it?
I also remember seeing a speaker in that corner.
Yeah, about that. This morning, Jet, Mark, and I arrived at the dining hall a little after 8 a.m., then Eva came a few minutes later. She helped us put together Mark's equipment, which was stationed in the lower right corner of the room. And then she volunteered to place speakers around the room while Jet and I set up the TV next to the fireplace.
Moving a speaker near the vent. Did Eva do that to drown out Diana and Wolfgang's scuffle?
Probably.
Yeah, and in turn exacerbate the effects of the other speakers. There were almost a dozen spread throughout the dining hall. Some even sandwiched into corners they didn't need to be. Eva probably placed them that way to cover as much ground as possible.
Still, Eva entered the dining hall at 8:10 a.m., right? So wouldn't it be impossible for her to knock out Lawyer Man at 8:15 a.m.?
According to Ava, she arrived around 8:10 a.m. But it's possible she actually arrived much later. Since there's no clock in the dining hall, he just couldn't have known. In fact, that might be why Ava seemed so eager to arrange Mark's equipment in the morning. Upon realizing it had a clock, she wanted to ensure it would only be powered on after she arrived.
It seems the setup of this trap occurred across 3 phases. Phase 1 took place in the boiler room and involved tying a lithium battery. The cord was then slid through the grates of the closed boiler room vent, presumably until it almost poked out the other end of the ventilation shaft. Phase 2, by contrast, was carried out in the dining hall. The aforementioned cord was tied around the dining hall vent, which was then left open. This must have happened after Cassidy, Mark, and Jet were already done redecorating. For the third and final phase, the battery was carefully suspended over the generator. All these steps combined created a pulley system, which could only be triggered by closing the dining hall vent. Is there anything I'm missing?
How I closed the vent.
Huh?
Easy, you kicked it.
No one has explained how I closed the dining hall vent. Obviously, I didn't do it during the blackout. According to Damon, the blackout can only happen after the vent is closed. So, I must have stood up, gone behind the chair, and closed the vent during the tournament. That's stupid. Someone is definitely going to notice that sort of conspicuous movement. It doesn't matter if that someone is on the opposite side of the room. They're going to notice.
such an obvious discrepancy?
Shoot, the TV? Is everyone was watching people play the game?
Hey, the tournament equipment is innocent! It was on the other side of the room from Eva.
Or not. The chairs.
Don't think there's any fancy.
Okay, what? Probably this
This
spot.
is it.
The location of your chair bypasses this problem entirely. To close the vent, all you need to do is set the chair to recline and reach behind you.
Oh, I didn't know they had a
Set the
recline
chair
feature.
to recline?
All the dining hall chairs have the ability to recline. Some were already set to that position at the start of the tournament, including Ava's. With her chair in recline, Ava can easily reach down and close the vent without shifting from her position. It's not perfectly inconspicuous, but it's subtle enough to not catch most people's attention, especially those focused on watching a video game competition. Well, am I wrong?
This isn't funny. Just because I was sitting in front of the vent doesn't mean I was the one who triggered the mechanism.
No one can sneak up behind you without drawing attention, especially when all the lights were still on.
That's just dumb! Where I was sitting shouldn't make me a murderer.
Even so, with everything we've spoken about...
Everything? Did you already forget what was said earlier? Just look at all the items I would need to set up this murder. The battery, the extension cord, the rolling pin, the taser, the syringe, and the supposed drug used with it. How could I have collected all of those things? Wolfgang and everyone else hated me because I lied about my talent. They were on their guard whenever I was around. You think Jet and Desmond would just let me walk into their rooms and take their stuff?
No.
That's true. We still haven't explained how she robbed two people's rooms without being caught.
Unless you can prove I had the chance to get all this stuff, you can't make me out to be the killer.
Maybe at night when they were in the other rooms.
I'll show proof. Only you could obtain the items necessary for this murder.
I guess it's this.
I got it.
Ava, you were well aware of the existence of those items. For starters, everyone heard about Jet's battery. It was common knowledge due to his boasting.
Wait, so it's all my fault? Ouch.
Since the dorms aren't locked, you could have easily snuck in and grabbed the battery while no one was inside. The battery is lightweight too, so you wouldn't have trouble carrying it. For the rest of your plan, the syringe and drugs are both readily available in the pharmacy. And as for the taser, you may not have known about its existence right away, but you still had every incentive to search Desmond's room. Because you received his blackmail.
Dun dun dun.
Eva? You knew my blackmail this whole time and never said anything?
So what?
Huh?
So what if I knew? I wasn't the only one. Damon knew your blackmail as well.
That's
oh, yeah.
true.
He read it out loud to everyone earlier, didn't he?
Damon knew almost everything I did. He knew where the items used in this murder were stored. He knew the layout of the boiler room and the storage closets. He knew all sorts of things. The only thing he didn't know is the one thing more important than any piece of physical evidence.
The hell are you talking about?
See, you still don't know. You still don't know that we never saw eye to eye.
Huh?
Eye to eye on the not killing each other stuff?
What's she
On
talking about?
Wolfgang.
Oh.
Eh?
Damon saw the way Wolfgang scolded me and treated me like a bad guy, and he thought I hated him the same way he did. But unlike Damon, I never wanted Wolfgang to die.
That's a lie.
What the?
Whoa! That's a loaded accusation.
Mm-hmm.
Not a first for this trial.
If you thought you saw the worst of Damon after the dummy trial, you underestimate just how low he can stoop. I practically risked my life pretending to be his ally. But in return, he let me see the extent of his deceitfulness, which is why I can tell everyone that Damon has Wolfgang's blackmail.
Man, she's putting us on the spot.
Any reason you didn't tell us this earlier?
Because he was a coward.
Well, I didn't think it was incriminating at first.
Not even when he refused to come forward about it?
That was weird, but I didn't want to make accusations at the time because it could have just been his ego talking. Only after watching him reject the taser gun over this dumb mechanism he made up did I realize I had potential evidence on my hands.
Damon, do you have your blackmail on you? Don't worry about reading it out loud or anything. Just show the image. That's all you gotta do.
To lead you into the trap. And to accuse you of the murder. And you fell for it. We all fell for it. Okay. More backstory.
Fine. I'll show it. But only the picture. As requested.
He's married?
Ingrid, Wolfgang doesn't have blue eyes.
So, who is this then? His parents?
I mean, why else would the guy look like him?
Given the year this photo was taken, these two people must be his parents. Look at what's printed at the bottom. April 17th, 2001. We know how old Wolfgang is because of the student reports. In 2001, he wasn't even...
Oh, whoops.
But why his parents? Are they being held against their will?
You can't leave us hanging, Damo! You gotta read out what it says!
That's not what was asked of me. And even if I had to, I don't think someone who can't explain himself should have his secrets revealed to everyone.
Some things are better left unsaid.
For the record, I know what Wolfgang's blackmail says, but it didn't change my outlook on him. I don't think it's possible for anyone to hate someone like Wolfgang. He was always brave in the face of sheer adversity, and encouraged everyone else to act likewise. Wolfgang challenged me to be a better person. Wolfgang challenged all of us to be better people. And maybe Ava simply couldn't rise to his challenge.
Don't listen to him! He's trying to divert everyone from the truth!
No, that's what you're doing.
Even though Wolfgang and I didn't always see eye to eye, my respect for him and his talent never wavered. Why would someone like me harm him? Me, who's been leading this trial much the same way he led the one before. I may have questioned the idea no one here would kill, but that doesn't make me someone who wants to see bloodshed.
He does! He does want bloodshed! We have all the proof he's a cold-blooded killer! Wolfgang's blackmail, which he lied about having!
But wasn't Damon playing?
Nothing he says should be trusted. Nothing he says about me, or anything else.
It is odd that we place faith in a man who does not have faith in us. So much so, these discussions are mostly led by his own conjecture.
Damon isn't the killer, though. Why would he try to mislead anyone? Like, he and I were playing a game when the murder happened, and multiple people can vouch for us.
Not to mention, the things he's been saying make a lot of sense.
Here we go, this is where we gain everyone's
Truth
trust.
has no personal alliance. That's why.
Even if he wasn't here, we'd arrive at the same conclusion anyway.
Depends who you mean by we.
Then, you all still think I'm the killer?
Mm-hmm.
Someone needs to be voted by the end of this.
Don't just say it like that.
Oh, damn.
My ears!
How would I know? How would I know when to drop it?
Drop what?
The battery! Damon says the killer dropped the battery when Diana was already in the boiler room. But how would I know when Diana was in the boiler room? It's not as if I could listen out for her. The music speakers are too loud. And the dining hall has no clocks, so it'd be impossible for me to know if it was 8:45 a.m.
Right. Only Mark's DJ pad had a clock.
Maybe Ava asked Mark for the time.
No.
She never spoke to me.
Oh, she had a
We
handheld
never
console.
spoke. I never even got up from my chair. Besides, how could I be sure Diana arrived on time anyway? If you can't explain how I knew when to drop the battery, then shut up and stop accusing me!
I got it.
She probably saw it from her device.
The only way the killer would have known when to spring their trap was by seeing Diana enter the room. Any uncertainty would ruin the plan, and the dining hall was too loud to hear anything over.
Probably asked Tozu for the camera.
This is it.
It's impossible to see anything from the vent, which means the only way anyone could see into the room was by using the school cameras.
Say what?
I don't understand how, but Ava must have used the camera.
Is she working with the kidnappers?
Are you kidding me? How the hell would I have access to the camera?
Oh. Argument altercation. Oh, shoot. Have it auto. Fire noise bullets. Okay, F. Okay. Okay, so take a few tries.
I didn't see anything. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. I just wanted to help.
Oh shoot, I missed.
It's Damon who's
Okay,
suspicious.
I get it.
didn't see anything. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. This isn't fair. I just wanted to help. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. It's Damon who's suspicious.
I
Who
missed.
cares
Okay.
about the camera? Who cares about the camera? I just wanted to help. This isn't fair. Why would I kill anyone? Ouch! Damon, I thought you trusted me. I just wanted to help.
Not anymore.
I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. It's Damon who's suspicious. This isn't fair. It's Damon who's suspicious.
No.
There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. It's Damon who's suspicious. I didn't see. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. Who cares about the camera? Why won't you believe me?
Damn, this artwork is so good.
Why would I kill anyone? There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. There's no proof I killed. There's no proof I killed Wolfgang. Why would I kill anyone? Who cares about the camera?
God, imagine doing a no damage run.
How could I access the security
Eva's
camera?
personal game console.
It's over. Ava.
I like that
He
minigame,
knows
that
the
was
truth.
fun.
No! Don't kill me!
What you said was true, Ava. Whether or not the trap works depends on if the killer can see inside the boiler room. Which begs the question, how does the killer see inside? They can't just get on their knees and peek through the vent. Everyone in the dining hall would notice. Besides, the vent probably offers very little in the way of an actual view of the room.
Exactly! It's impossible!
Right. It's impossible. From this particular angle. If I switch perspectives, your entire argument comes completely undone.
What do you mean?
Ava assumes I'm taking only one factor into account. Her position at the time of Wolfgang's murder. Little does she know that in ruling out that factor, she's led me straight to another. A certain item which could have granted her the ability to see inside the boiler room.
Mm-hmm.
An item that, like the chemical smell, only makes sense when all other options have been ruled out. The game console she brought with her to the tournament.
Ava had a game console?
She wanted to get in the spirit of the tournament without being directly involved. Or so she claimed. But when every other option has been ruled out, what else can we look to but the one that's yet to be addressed?
Are you saying she saw inside the boiler room using the console?
Mm-hmm.
So he played live footage of the room?
Sounds like a stretch.
If I'm wrong, Ava should be able to prove her innocence. Go on, Ava. Show us the console.
Huh?
I don't think she has the console on her, dude.
She has to. She never had an opportunity to slink away and dispose of it.
What about the blackout?
When the blackout first hit, people were disorientated for about a minute at most. Ava likely spent those 60 seconds, and between then and now, she's never been alone. The only exception was when she and I split up to investigate the dining hall and the dorms respectively. However, the laundry room, dining hall, and courtyard all had people in them, so I doubt she hid the console in any of those rooms.
And the janitor closet? That room has been locked for days now. She obviously couldn't hide the console there.
Which means it must still be on her person.
Nice.
Like I said earlier, if I'm wrong about the console, you can take it out right now and show everyone its contents.
What are you waiting for? Quit hiding the stupid thing and show it!
You're just trying to make me look bad. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just jealous of me. You're jealous of me and my talent. That's all you are. Jealous.
Hey, calm down.
Why not just pull out the console?
Yes! Show us the console and then you'll be done with this!
No!
Eh?
I don't have have to show anyone anything.
No.
That's the most suspicious thing you could say.
Yep.
It's not suspicious. I'm telling the truth.
No, you're not.
That's obviously a lie.
Why go through the effort of mentioning Wolfgang's blackmail if you won't reveal this?
Now that I think back on it, Ava had been staring at her console the entire tournament. I thought it was weird, coming all the way over to the dining hall when she could have just stayed in her dorm.
Well, where did she obtain this console? We should discuss those details before continuing any more with these accusations.
She said she won it from Tozu's gachapon.
Seems natural he would stock that machine with dangerous items.
Between 14 possible culprits and one possible killer,
Oops.
there's no need to sort out the facts further.
Oh, I don't have it on auto.
Ava, you're the only one we can vote for.
That's such twisted logic. You're going to vote for me without being completely sure I'm even guilty?
There's no need to be completely sure, if no one else can be suspected.
In case anyone still doubts Ava is the killer, I'll go through the case one last time.
Yay.
And once all the pieces are laid out for everyone to see, I'll prove she's the killer, once and for all.
Okay, Okay. Oh, left click. Okay. Okay, the blackout. Put that in. The blackout. So that's this one. Okay, what gets unlocked? Okay. Message. Nothing else gets unlocked. Okay. Syringe. What's this? Okay, car battery. That's this one. What's this? Okay, didn't miss any over here? Nope, okay. Who are in boiler room? Okay, killer. No? Taser. That doesn't make sense. Oh. The picture threw me off. Okay. He put that there. And then this one is the last one. Okay.
This is how it happened.
This case was directly incited by the motive Tozu introduced, in which everyone here received another person's blackmail. Amidst the chaos that spawned, the killer saw an opportunity to commit a murder. They sent letters to two people, Wolfgang Akide, who they planned to kill, and Diana Venezia, who they planned to frame. Wolfgang and Diana were asked to meet in the boiler room in 2 days' time, Wolfgang's letter told him to arrive at 8:15 a.m., while Diana's told her to arrive at 8:45 a.m.
The messages threatened to expose our blackmail, so we had no choice but to follow their instructions.
At this point, the killer probably knew the way they were going to kill Wolfgang. Hence, how they reacted to this next piece of information. The following morning, it was revealed that Cassidy and Jet were going to hold a game tournament.
The point was for people to spend time together and not think murdery thoughts. But little did we know, a would-be killer was lurking nearby. And how? The killer emboldened their own plans and made it so the tournament would happen at 9 a.m.
Did you just agree with yourself?
Both Wolfgang and Diana turned down the offer, which must have been music to the killer's ears, since it confirmed their plan was working. The killer took this as a sign to commence the next phase of their plan. Later that evening, they went downstairs to the boiler room and began preparing the murder weapon.
Though it might be more accurate to call it a murder mechanism. The killer wrapped an extension cord as tightly as they could around a car battery, which had been stolen from Jet's room. I imagine the battery must have been sitting on top of the generator. Wouldn't want to risk an explosion by bringing lithium too close to the water.
The killer avoided opening the boiler room vent for this segment, probably because they knew I'd remember it being closed originally.
A crucial part of the killer's plan would involve sliding the cord through the boiler room vent and out the other end into the dining hall. So they could then walk upstairs to the dining hall and tie the protruding part of the cord to the dining hall vent.
Funnily enough, the killer was going to be needed in the dining hall very shortly.
Yeah, to help Cass and me rearrange the dining hall's furniture. We were saving the whole thing for next morning, but they convinced us to do it that night instead.
Their intentions were threefold. Create an alibi, hide the vent with a piece of furniture, and then open the vent in secret. After which, they'd return to the boiler room and suspend the battery over the generator.
Which brings us to today. Knowing better than to head downstairs without protection, Wolfgang went to the kitchen and armed himself with a knife. Toshiko didn't notice a knife on him when the two met in the hallway, so he must have hidden it in his blazer.
Wolfgang arrived inside the boiler room at 8:15 a.m., exactly like his letter requested. As he was waiting, the killer snuck up behind him.
And he got smacked right in the head with that steel rolling pin and crumpled like paper.
A syringe was then used to inject Wolfgang with a sleeping drug, ensuring he would remain in the boiler room until Diana arrived.
The killer might have, left the taser on the floor around this time.
Yeah, the taser they swiped from my dorm. They must have decided to raid the place after receiving my blackmail. If I'd heard about the taser sooner, I could have gotten rid of it, as well as whatever else my blackmail supposedly mentions.
Save the angsting for later, will you?
Anyway, back on topic. Wolfgang was left to lie in the partially flooded area of the boiler room, while the killer ran upstairs to help set up Mark's music equipment.
They didn't care about the equipment. They just wanted to put a speaker next to the vent, because it would drown out the fight which was gonna happen later.
Don't forget the digital clock! They wanted to get there before that became available. Don't need people knowing what time you actually arrived.
My letter said to meet at 8:45 a.m. So that's when I got to the boiler room. I made sure to close the door behind me, just as the message told me to.
Bad idea. Killer flipped the doorknob so that the lock was on the outside instead of the inside. You locked yourself in!
The room was really dark too. I didn't even see the suspended battery, only the blinking security camera. And then, Wolfgang. He got up on his feet all of a sudden, and he started crying and saying these weird things. I tried to keep him calm and asked him to come over to me, which he actually did. But the very next second, he attacked me with his knife.
The drugs probably gave him a frightening hallucination, and he perceived you as a threat.
He was screaming at me, and I was screaming back. No one from the tournament could hear us over the music. At one point, I even picked up the taser, but then I threw it back down again.
And that's when the killer decided it was time. Having set their chair to recline, they were able to casually reach down and close the vent behind them. This lowered the extension cord, causing the car battery to enter the water and discharge a huge amount of electricity. Wolfgang,
That was
who
cool.
was still standing in the water, was electrocuted instantly. The battery itself exploded upon reacting with the water, which the killer was likely banking on as a way to destroy evidence. All of this happened right under my nose. No one could have guessed that someone present at the tournament was committing murder.
And there's the music.
The explosion also damaged the generator and caused the blackout. Everyone ended up stumbling around in the dark.
Not for long, though. We quickly came back to our senses and agreed to look for a backup generator on the underground floor.
I used a hairpin to unlock the boiler room door and ran outside, but you guys had already made it downstairs.
That's when you say you ducked around a corner and out of sight. Only after everyone went inside the closets, did you then dash upstairs?
It's a good thing she did. Otherwise, we'd have found her alone in her room with Wolfgang's dead body. We would have wrongly assumed Diana was the killer, and died as a result. This complicated scheme calls to mind only one person. One person who just so happened to be sitting in a certain sofa chair.
Ava.
That person is you, Ava Sunaka. It's over, Ava. We know the truth.
It's not fair. This isn't fair. This isn't fair.
Yay!
My blood is rushing!
Wonderful, brilliant, spectacular. You have seen beyond the foul lies of the scorned mathematician and delivered the honorable truth with wit in a blob.
Well done.
This is worthy of praise. Allow me to reward your success with...
This isn't funny.
Can you shut up? Without Tozu's mad ramblings, the trial room had gone completely silent. Everyone was either staring at the floor or sneaking nervous glances at each other. I understand the reason for this frosty atmosphere. You found out who done it, so now you wish to know why done it.
Such a spoil sport.
Very well. Every murder mystery needs a motive, and I would be loath to break tradition at this stage.
There must be something.
Ava, why did you do this? Just why?
Come on.
Speak up. You have nothing to lose now. It was Tozu. Tozu made me do it.
This is...
What?
You...
You've been working with Tozu this entire time?
Such disrespect!
Me and her? Oh, please. If her plan was to secretly infiltrate the killing game, she wouldn't have given herself such an attention-grabbing ultimate title.
Rubbish.
I mean, seriously? Ultimate liar? Talk about on the nose. No, Eva is just as much of a kidnappee as the rest of you.
Son of a bitch!
Shut up. You let her get away with breaking the rules. That's proof enough you're in cahoots.
Holy!
Huh? Ava broke the rules? Yeah, when she blew up the school fucking property.
Fuck you!
Damn. Why the fuck was I punished for chucking a rock at a camera, but Ava wasn't punished for destroying a fucking generator?
Shit.
Is Ava the exception the rule was talking about? What? Desmond tapped the screen of his trinket and conjured a familiar square-shaped hologram. With a few swipes of his finger, he located the killing game's rules. Okay, yeah, everyone take a look at the second rule. Students are not allowed to vandalize any official killing game property, such as the cameras and Tozu trinkets. Exceptions may apply. Do you see how it says exceptions may apply at the end? Since Ava wasn't punished for breaking the generator, could that mean she counts as an exception?
Stop lying!
Are you gonna explain how, or are you trying to be a contration?
This looks bad.
Well, if I had to make a guess, it's probably because Ava destroyed the generator while committing a murder. Huh?
What's all this about?
Are you saying Ava has special privileges? I think it's more like her method of murder was what destroyed the generator. Meaning the generator is technically tied to Wolfgang's death.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is why Ava was executed for breaking it. Well, excused for breaking it.
Slow down.
Yo, that can actually be the reason, can it?
I see.
And if it were...
Brutal!
You...
I see. Ava believed she would count as an exception to the rule, which is why she didn't take any steps to avoid destroying the generator.
What?
She risked getting shot in the head over something she just assumed.
That ain't it.
Nah, with how confidently Ava executed the murder, she could have known for sure she wouldn't be penalized. How about it, Tozu? Did you ever share that information with her?
Who? Me?
A desperate killer is much like a hungry seagull, ready to pounce upon the slightest crumb of substance. The mere implication of a loophole ignites their senses, and they, as desperate people always do, will shred their dignity in pursuit of confirmation. So to answer your question, yes, Eva approached me with the same question your friends are asking now. And yes, I confirmed her suspicions were true.
Not okay!
Seriously? That's so unfair.
Pathetic.
Unfair? Answering a reasonable question is far from unfair. Have you ever asked a professor to help on an assignment? Sure, your professor wouldn't do the work for you. But they'll be happy to clear up any confusion you might have. Then, why did Eva say you made her kill Wolfgang? I suppose you could say Eva and I made a deal. A deal? What kind of deal? A deal to begin the killing game.
Impossible!
In exchange for agreeing to perform the first kill, she would receive a special perk.
Plot twist!
The traitor perk.
Holy!
What do you mean, traitor perk? Is it the tablet Eva has? I mean, she refused to show it to us when we asked. Mind you that a host cannot simply hand over a traitor perk to anyone who asks. For a student to be eligible for a perk, they must first earn it.
That was very...
What do you mean by earn it? Do you recall that little tidbit I shared with you about the pharmacy? You know, the one about a secret lurking inside? The secret, were you referring to the traitor perk?
Well done.
Indeed I was. When I said a very interesting secret was lurking inside, I meant that quite literally. The only thing separating you from the perk was a few inches of stainless steel and a pin pad. Pin pad? Oh, you're talking about the big door I found tucked behind a shelf.
I see.
It was hiding the traitor perk all along. How did Eva figure out the password to the pin pad, though? Did she enter a bunch of random numbers until it, like, finally worked?
Well,
A 4-digit code would have thousands of potential combinations. Unless Eva encountered unbelievable luck, the chances of her guessing that code in only a few days is extremely unlikely.
How?
Oh, I think it's the poster we saw when we were in the pharmacy with her. For numbers to unlock a pin pad, how did Eva figure them out? There's only one way. Yeah, only one way I can see her obtaining the correct answer. It's to do with that poster, isn't it? That mysterious poster in the pharmacy. What poster are you?
Well done.
Ding ding ding! Correct. Yes, hidden inside one of the pharmacy's rooms is a poster which reveals the code to the pin pad.
For real?
No.
How can that poster reveal the code, though? The price. What was it? 1310? Had to be important somehow. None of the visuals made sense, which is exactly why it caught my attention. But I didn't know what to do with that information, how to decipher what I was seeing.
Pathetic.
And that is where you fell short of your mathematically gifted peer. With her keen eyesight and quick thinking, she saw the poster for what it really was.
Plot twist!
An equation. Every detail is deceitful. Those exclamations of grandeur may be, in fact, be hints towards a certain something's nature in that large star, a stand-in for a coordinate plane. Well, not that it matters anymore. The passcode to that precious pin pad is, after all, being changed as we speak. To quote the words of my parents' parents, this road to freedom must always be paved with obstacles.
Sick and twisted!
No way, a math equation is totally up Ava's alley. Ava, you told me you couldn't understand the poster.
Why the long face?
Of course you did. The equation is the key to the traitor perk. Handing it over would mean handing the perk over.
Shit.
So the traitor perk was Ava's reward for solving the puzzle?
Anybody?
The heck even is the perk? You still haven't explained that yet.
Who? Me?
I assure you, it's a very handy thing to have. You see, this traitor perk allows the owner to access the school's security cameras using a tablet. That tablet, of course, being on Ava's person right now.
Damn it.
So, I was right. You accessed the camera in the boiler room, which is how you saw Diana enter.
Oh, crud!
I thought it was weird Eva wouldn't show us the tablet, but I didn't think it was actually wired to the school cameras.
But then...
Then the reason I saw the camera's light blinking back in the boiler room, it's because Ava was watching me?
What?
This is making too much sense.
Nonsense.
Ava, how could you negotiate with your kidnapper? Why would you have any reason to trust him? I had no choice. I either take his deal and give myself a chance to escape, or I die here with the rest of you.
You...
That selfish attitude is the reason why we've ended up in this mess. Didn't we promise to make it out of here together? If you hadn't murdered one of the only people who could have handled the situation, we might have made progress on escaping.
Hang on.
Even if I didn't kill, someone else would have eventually. And if they were in my position right now, they wouldn't even admit to what they've done. They'd cry and snivel and try to guilt you. They wouldn't be honest like me.
Watch it.
Honest or not, playing Tozu's game was risky. You were trapped in a small space with witnesses everywhere. That's not a gamble you should have taken.
What a joke.
We had food, we had shelter. All we had left to do was wait for our eventual rescue from this place. But
Stop it!
I would have died first. It was obvious from what was happening with Wolfgang. His constant jeering at me over the few mistakes I've made, while the rest of you followed his lead. If a class trial ever happened with him around, he would have accused me of being the killer even without evidence. And you all would have believed him.
Whoa!
That's not.
Shut up!
Because of Wolfgang, I was isolated from everyone else. He turned me into an easy target for murder. And if I was murdered, would the rest of you even bother to find out who killed me? There's no way you would. There's no way anyone would. You're all the worst. I hope you all rot here.
Bro?
That's cold, man.
You really let me down.
Even if we had some rough spots, some of us still tried to get along with you. During the gaming tournament, I was fine with you joining.
Ugh.
You think a few games were enough to forgive everything you did to me? None of you actually care about me. None of you. I've never been anything to anyone.
Huh?
What do you mean? It really is the same in here as it is out there. I'm always the one that people hated. I didn't choose this talent. I was just doing what others wanted me to do. I was the prodigy student the adults wanted me to be. I thought I did everything right. But I still kept being judged. Everyone else around me resented me, hated me, because they wanted the love I received. Or what they thought was love. And despite all my hard work, the UTP turned me into something I never wanted to be. Even if I wanted to return to normality, it would be impossible. I'm stuck with this talent for life. And now, when I try to become something more than a sad joke, I get hit with the realization that all my efforts were for nothing. I never could be anyone else. I'll never get what I deserve. Yo, Ava backstory? But I cared.
I don't understand.
Ava, I cared about you. I don't get it.
Why?
Ava, why did you frame me? I cared for you and stood up for you whenever I could.
Don't say that!
I wanted to be your roommate. I wanted to help you.
I don't want to.
It didn't mean anything. Why? You still agreed with everything Wolfgang said. No matter what he did to me, you kept on supporting him. Is that why you tried to frame me for his murder? Yeah, and you deserved it.
No. No.
Diana allowed a zombie nearly fell onto her podium. Diana! Eloise ran over Diana and put an arm around her shoulder.
How can you believe that?
Why did you have to kill Wolfgang in front of... Hand. That's so cruel. She obviously knew what she was doing. Both the cause and the time of death were mentioned in the mock trial case. Also, it stands to reason they would be mentioned here too. When Eva realized that, she tried to leverage it against us. I'm sure receiving that little camera perk made it all too easy to time the murder.
Shut it!
Enough with this bullshit already. So Ava's a privileged little asshole who thinks her life sucks. Who cares?
Fuck you!
You took Wolfgang's life. The only thing you deserve is some comeuppance.
Sheesh.
I doubt she's actually telling the truth. Murdering someone because they lied about their inoffensive talent? Even she must know how ridiculous that sounds.
How can that be?
If Eva didn't kill Wolfgang because she was scared, then why did she kill him?
Honestly?
Why else but to escape the killing game? I doubt any of us were ever a threat to her. In fact, it was probably the complete opposite.
Shocking.
She thought she was smarter and better than all of us. That's why she thought she could win the class trial.
My thoughts exactly.
Yes, I agree with Winona. In that case, do you reckon Eva killed Wolfgang because of his abilities as a lawyer? She made herself admit he would have suspected her if he was here. Clearly, Wolfgang was the best person to kill if she wanted to escape.
Nope.
And anyway, Ava isn't the only one who's vulnerable. There are people here with even weaker bodies and weaker minds. Anyone who is looking for an easy kill would know to target them first. It doesn't matter. Even if no one targeted me, I still would have died first. How so? Because of the perk. Tozu told me that if I didn't use the perk to murder someone as soon as possible, I was going to die.
What did you say?
What?
Nonsense!
Is this true, Tozu?
Who? Me?
Guilty as charged.
Dude, no!
No way. Tozu never told me the number of days I had left, just that I needed to kill soon. If I didn't kill soon, I'd die.
This isn't fair!
I had to do something. You can't blame me for that. If you were in my shoes, you would have all done the same.
Worthless.
It's your own fault. You were probably in that situation because you took the perk.
No!
Tozu targeted me with the math puzzle. He offered me the perk when I was at my lowest point. If you guys were approached the way I was and offered a chance to go home, you would have taken the perk too.
Stop it!
You're just a bunch of hypocrites. You just want to make me look like the villain so you feel less bad about killing me. Killing her? That's right, how can I forget? If the Blacken is uncovered...
Dumbass!
Enough already. I'm sick of talking to this scumbag. Get on with the execution, will you? Alright. This soap opera is entertaining, but I realize it's time to change the channel. Wait, don't tell me you're actually going to. I love how Desmond just looks so done with everything.
Holy!
All of a sudden, the elevator behind us began to turn alive. The word machinery could be heard from the other side of the doors, raw, loud, and rhythmic with a mechanical symphony.
The show must go on.
Do not avert your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. I hear a lot of the budget went into this. No, I don't. What's going on?
I won't believe.
This isn't happening. This isn't happening.
My blood is rushing.
To the victor go the spoils. Hail the honorable dead, avenged at last. I don't deserve this. Even if you hate me, I don't deserve this. May our charitable justice inspire fear and humility within these wretched souls.
Don't kill me!
This isn't fair. I don't deserve to die. I deserve to live. I deserve to live. And stir the hearts and minds of all those bearing witness. Ready, everyone? Let the show begin.
I want to live. I deserve to live. I'm going to live.
Oh, is this gonna be like a... Kurumi's? Where she just tries to run away?
I'm going to live!
Oh. That was cute. Oh, the slow turn. Oh, damn! Oh, what's gonna happen? Fiery furnace of... No, I didn't get to see it. Girl, get up and run. Jump to the other... Yep, there you go. Oh. You gotta really work for it, girl. Ooh. Oh no. Ooh. It's gotta hurt. Come on, Ava. Oh? Who's that? Oh. Ooh.
I can't handle it!
My entire body, my entire body has seized up. I couldn't move a single limb, couldn't say a single word. All I could do was stand and stare, my mind at a complete and total loss.
There's no way.
So that's what punishment entails? Let me go home. Please let me go home.
Isn't this lovely?
Goodness, talk about a heated moment. Eva put up quite a fight. For a second there, she almost had me, believing we'd underestimated her.
Moving on.
Just kidding.
I'll be damned.
How can you do this, forcing these innocent people to kill each other?
Terrible. Just terrible.
So judgmental. Need I remind you that this is student-on-student warfare?
Get out.
Just shut up already. Ava, why? You just needed a friend. I could have been the friend you needed. Why did you do this?
I can't believe it.
I think we're going to be sick. I don't even know what I'm feeling anymore.
Oh, shit!
I love that voice line. I'm totally gonna die here, aren't I?
I can't be like this.
No one else is gonna die here. We're all gonna be okay. Come on, repeat it after me. I'm here, and I'm okay. I'm here, and I'm okay. I'm here, and I'm okay. This is my reality. The fear of death had already been heavy on my shoulders ever since the killing game was announced. But now, it had completely enveloped me. I can't do it. I can't lie to myself again. Again?
It's all my fault.
I'm not okay. I'm never going to be okay. I could have changed things. I could have saved her. And him, Wolfgang. If I just dragged him out of the water, I could have saved him. Why didn't I save him?
Whoa!
Diana, you had no way of knowing that was gonna come next. What was gonna come next? He was wielding a knife too. Anyone would have done what you did. Did he really bring a knife for self-defense? Usually a comment like that would have gotten a rise out of Grace, but she stayed completely silent. I can't let it end. Wolfgang's kindness. I can't let anyone forget it.
It is how it is.
That goes without saying. I'm sure everyone will remember what Wolfgang did for us. I've never thought of the lengths my talent can go. The ability to change others' appearances, to be the best version of themselves. It's always been someone else who sits in front of the mirror. I've never really put myself in that place. Diana, you okay? If I can't save Wolfgang, then at the very least, maybe I can live for him.
Believe me.
You didn't do anything wrong, Diana.
Pardon me.
Yeah. I can do this. I can fulfill the life he wasn't able to live.
Like a chameleon, I will adapt. I'll follow in Wolfgang's footsteps and continue what he wasn't able to accomplish. I'll become something new.
Tears were running down Diana's face, but her expression. Somehow, she looked determined. I couldn't understand it. Despite everything she's been through, here she was making some silly vow about continuing Wolfgang's legacy. Acting like she's a hero from a storybook. Has this girl lost her mind?
Hold on.
Wolfgang and Eva, neither of them deserve this. I won't let what happened to them happen to anyone else here.
We won't back down.
For both their sakes, I'll save everyone from the killing game.
You've got to be kidding me.
Take this seriously, will you?
What?
Can this get any worse?
It seems your peers aren't much in the mood for heroic monologues.
Moving on.
Anyhow, it's been a long day. The crime scene has already been cleaned up, unless you have any further questions for me. You are all free to return to your dorms.
Mm-hmm.
So, any further questions?
Get lost.
Ingrates.
Huh. Now where have I heard that one before? In all seriousness, I'll take that as a no.
Good evening.
Until next time, everyone. Just like last time, Tozy walked over to the throne.
Isn't this lovely?
By the way, you're safe to ride the elevator back up. We set it back to its default mode. What you glimpsed before was simply its punishment mode. On that ominous note, he was lowered underground. Hey guys, should we just go back to our rooms? Aye, it's about time we drew this day to a close. Good idea. People silently made their way to the elevator, horror and despair etched on their faces. It was clear today's events would not be easily forgotten. And then there was me. Everything I've been ruminating over. The devastating images which have been plaguing my mind. Wolfgang's murder. The trial. Ava, dying right in front of me, swallowed by a pit of fire. It had all retreated to the corners of my mind. The only thing I could focus on now were those 5 words. I'll follow in Wolfgang's footsteps. Hearing those words come from Diana after everything that's happened. Seeing her raise her chin and act so tall and proud, just like Wolfgang once did. Pissed me off. Ooh. Oh. Yay! That was a great chapter. Yes, I would like to save the game. Okay. That is it for tonight. I need to go to bed. It's past 1. Ugh. Okay. Good night, everybody. Bye.